right. Okay, so here you can see the request and the response from the ChatGPT API, right? On the back, can you see the text as well? Or is it good? Yeah, okay. Okay, so here you can see the request and the response of the ChatGPT API. Now, you can see in the request, we need to provide a few things to the model in order for us to get a response, right? So, firstly, we need to call the specific function, so we know which API we need to call. After that, you need to provide a model. So we have different sorts of models that are used. Those are, I will just give you examples of the most popular ones. Those are GPT-3, GPT 3.5, GPT-4, and so on. So we provide a model. Different models have different price and different capabilities. So in different situations, you need to use different type of models. You don't always need to use the most capable one because it's also more expensive, right? And if you build an application and if you use this application for business, obviously you want something more efficient. And then here you have the conversation. So the conversation can be just a single question, okay? Or it can also be some conversation that already happened and you would expect the ChatGPT to give you the next answer, right? So you can say, for example, you're a helpful assistant, you're doing this and that, and then ask a question. The more context you give, the better answer you're going to get. So then you're going to get a response like this, right? And in this response, you have, as you can see, a lot of information. You have the content, which is the answer to your question, but you also have other types of information as well, right? So you have the model that you use. You also have, this field is also very important, and this is the usage. How many tokens you use. And based on actually, and we're going to talk about tokens, based on the tokens you use, this is how you're charged, right? And I'll show how this is done. So obviously you need this field here, and also you can see that here we have choices, right? And here we have something that looks like a Python list. This is because when you do a request to the API, there is a parameter, and we're going to talk about this, that defines how many responses you would like to get. Sometimes you might want to get more than one response in order for your application to be more efficient. So this is also something that you might want to consider when using the API. But based on the request and the response, this is pretty much the core of every ChatGPT application, right? Okay. And here, okay, here we go. Okay, in here, I just want to talk briefly about some of the core components. Actually, I already covered some of those. So firstly, those are the models that you need to provide to the request. Those are the tokens, or how you're charged. So normally the tokens in the request, you can provide the maximum number of tokens that you want the model to use, okay? So if you say, okay, I want to use up to 250 tokens, then the model is going to answer to you just up to this amount of tokens, no more than this. Currently, the maximum amount of tokens you can use, I'm pretty sure now it raised to 124,000, something like this. It might be even more. So if you wish, you can have a pretty big response, way bigger than the web version of the ChatGPT API. Okay. After that, you have temperature. This is very important parameter. So the temperature is how deterministic or how random the answer of the ChatGPT is going to be. So for example, if you have low temperature, for example, your temperature is, let's say 0.2, this means that your answer is going to be more deterministic. So this means that you will get from ChatGPT the most accurate possible answer that ChatGPT is capable of giving you. But then you might ask yourself, why do you actually need not that accurate answer? Why do you need variability? Can somebody guess? Try. What do you think? Creativity, yes. Sometimes you just need to use creativity, exactly. Can somebody give me an example where you would need more creativity than to be exact in some answer? When would you need more creativity?
DALI, when we are using DALI to create some images.
Okay, yes, and this is true for, yes, this is true for DALI. Uh, on the ChatGPT side, for example, if you ask the ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, I want DALI prompts related to a classroom, right? And ChatGPT can write you the DALI prompts. You don't want only one prompt that is the best one. You want many options. More simple example than this is, for example, I create my own business and I have to decide how to call my business, right? If I want to have more deterministic answer, this means ChatGPT will also give me the same names. But I don't want that. I want variety and I want creativity. So if I want to do that, I will make a higher temperature. So the answer can be a little bit more colorful, let's say, right? I can get different things, and I will show you exactly an example not very shortly. We're going to use one tool for that. All right, so let's look at some examples of applications that are already created using the ChatGPT APIs. So the first one, actually many colleagues at work are using that. This is ChatGPT for Google. It's a very simple application that does exactly what the web version of ChatGPT does. It is just embedded in Google, right? So when you go to the Google search and you write something, it also uses ChatGPT to provide a response on the site. Pretty simple. It now has even more than 3 million users for sure. And it just uses a um, very basic type of application in order to embed ChatGPT to Google. Then you have Designer, or this is some application, just an example of application where you can use DALI, for example, to create images and then add them to your application. And actually, the last application is application that I did myself. This is an app that can create exams based on text, right? So let's say you can ask ChatGPT, right? You can go to the web version and say, okay, based on this text, create me questions, right? But sometimes you want to pass a whole book, right? You want just to pass the book and then you get all the questions. So you can use a ChatGPT API to work with way larger sets of data and save way more time by just sending the book, and in that way you're just going to get the questions. And the questions, of course, after they are created, you can save them in a database and then pass them to Word or PDF file, so you don't need to do the work yourself. So you're saving time to the users in that way, and you can charge them for that. Okay, I can actually show you very briefly how this looks, so you can get some idea. Okay, so this is how you can just create a website, and then from the website you can have the users assess the application. Okay, and once they go to the application, for example, for this app, I've been using a Python framework called Django. Have somebody heard about Django? Yeah, good, good. All right, nice. Yeah, so this is a little bit more complex type of framework comparing to other Python frameworks for apps. but once you learn it, you can easily build any type of applications, and it's pretty simple to add ChatGPT to those types of applications. So right here, for example, you can click on create, right? You can choose quick exam, and then you can just pass your content here, write a number of questions, and then get a PDF with the exam, right? So to what type of people this would be useful, for example? What do you think? To me, right? Yes, this will be useful for me if I want to create multiple types of exams for you guys, so you cannot take the answers from the other people. I can just create multiple exams, and that's it. Of course, you can also use ChatGPT to answer to those questions, so it's not that efficient sometimes, but yeah, it is what it is. All right. All right, so the practical part today is going to start by generating an API key. So an API key is um, the, the tool that connects you with your account of the ChatGPT API. And this is not something specific for the ChatGPT API. It is something that is used by pretty much all the type of APIs that you use those days, right? So in order for you to use ChatGPT and ChatGPT to know um, who is the user, you need some sort of key, right? So today we can start by, and you can use your computers, right, to create your ChatGPT account, and we're going to create an API key, okay? So I will show you how this is done. Does anyone yet have an account in ChatGPT? An API keys, those things. You have one? All right, nice. Okay. So after you go to this page, you go to API keys, okay? And here you can create your API key that you will use for the ChatGPT application. All right, so you just click here, create key, and write some name, and then click generate, obviously. And here's your key. Make sure you copy your key while you see this page, because after that I don't think you will be able to see it. Okay, so just copy it, make sure it's in a safe place. If for some reason you forget your key, you can delete it and create another one. It's not a big deal. So everybody has the key? I think yes, right? Okay, nice. So this is going to be your tool with which you connect to the ChatGPT API. Now, there is another we need to discuss, and this is what we're going to use for actually building the applications. Now, I would suggest when you're using Python, actually, how many of you have Python as the programming language that they know the most? To raise hands. Python as the main language, okay. Okay, so most of you probably code in some other programming languages, which is fine. If you know other programming languages, Python is the easiest one, the most intuitive, so it's not going to be very hard to switch. So for this course, as I said, we're going to use the PyCharm IDE. So you need to have that installed in your laptops, right? Or if you're using the PC at school, I'm going to make sure to talk with the IT department so you have it there as well, right? Okay. Okay. So another thing that is very important for you when you build the applications for this class is how to deal with the Python virtual environment. Okay, and we're going to have maybe today or maybe in the next lecture, I'm going to talk specifically about the Python virtual environment and how you can set it and how you can use it. So the Python virtual environment is pretty much what holds all of your Python libraries in some custom location. For example, if you have an application and you don't want this application to be dependent on the device that it's uploaded on, right? So let's say if you move your applications in different computers, you want some folder in which to have the Python version and all the libraries that are used for your project. And when I say libraries, this means that, so for example in Python, you don't have just all the libraries installed in your computer. In Python, you are the one that is installing the different Python libraries and packages. So the virtual environment is all the specific libraries and packages for your project that we're going to install. Okay. So I'm going to show you how you can create one and how you can work with one. How many of you are using Windows operating system? Okay. So most of you use Windows, some of you use Mac, right? Okay, good. There is very small differences between the operating systems, but we're going to cover both of them. Okay. All right. Okay. So, since not all of you currently have PyCharm, do you have other types of IDEs here? I think you have in Visual Studio Code, you have Eclipse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I would show you actually how to install PyCharm in this class, so you know how to do it in your PC, right? But for this class, I'm going to show you just a very small bit of code. You can also use other type of IDE. So you can use, for example, Visual Studio Code, Eclipse, just whatever you have on your device, right? That is able to run Python code. But still, I'm going to show you, and I have a document that is going to show you how you can install Python and how you can install PyCharm for our classes, right? Okay. So let's go here. All right. So here I will provide you this document in Blackboard. You can find actually all the documents. Let me show you where. Okay. So when you go to Blackboard, you can just go to course documents right here, and you'll find all the references, the exact source code for the projects that we're doing, right? And also you'll find the presentation as well. So you have everything here. Now in this document, you will see how you can install Python in your device. You will see how you can install PyCharm as well. And you will see how you can create a PyCharm project and how to set up pretty much your virtual environment, which I will show you right now actually. Okay. So firstly, if you need to install Python, you just need to go to Python downloads, right? And just download the latest Python version, okay, from here in your device. Once you do that, you can go to JetBeans to install PyCharm IDE if you need it. And here, the website will assume whether you're on MacBook or on Windows. It will just give you the version that you need to download right here. So simply, actually don't download the professional, but download the community edition because it's free, so you don't need to pay for anything, right? Just download it and install it in your device. Okay. Okay, so now I will show you how, in a very simple way, you can create your PyCharm project, and most importantly, how to use the ChatGPT API. Okay, so just give me 1 second. Okay, so once you have PyCharm installed in your computer, you can simply create a new project, and this is actually valid for every type of IDE. Even if you use Eclipse or Visual Studio, you're just creating a project, but PyCharm is more easy to manage and maintain your virtual environment. So I would say for those of you that use their own laptops, make sure that you install Python and PyCharm for the next class, so you're able to use it. Okay. Now, from here you can create a new project. You can name your project, let's say project 1. And right here, where the project is created, you can see that inside your project, you're going to have the venv folder, which is going to have a copy of Python in your project. And inside this copy, all the libraries will be installed that we will need for this particular application. Okay, so after that, when you click create, as you can see, your project is created, you have your main file, and you have a virtual environment. Okay, and if you want to do any updates of your virtual environment, you can go right here in the corner, okay, and you can click on add new interpreter, okay, and you can create a new virtual environment if for some reason you had to, I don't know, if you didn't create it when you created the project. I'll give you an example. For example, this is the virtual environment folder here, okay. If I just delete it, okay, now my project doesn't have any Python version to work with. Okay, so if I go again to the interpreter settings, you see this is in red. I'll close that. So if I do add new interpreter, add local interpreter, now I can create a new virtual environment inside here, right? And this will be the name of the folder. And I'll click OK. Alright, so now the next important thing that I want to share with you guys is how to install libraries inside your virtual environment. For example, this is my main file, and here I want to write some application related to ChatGPT, right? So I can just do here import, okay, OpenAI. But you can see it's underlined in red, and this is because we don't have OpenAI installed in our Python project. So you would need to install it. To install it in PyCharm, you can use a terminal. So you just click the terminal right here, okay, and from here you can install your packages. There is also a more simple way, but I want to show you this one because this way is applicable for pretty much every type of IDE, so I'd rather have you learn this way. So from the terminal, you can do pipe install OpenAI, and this will install the OpenAI library for the API. Yeah.
Okay, so this is for Unix, or I don't have it. Well, is this for Mac or is this for both Mac and Windows?
Yeah, it's for both. So
For both.
okay, good. Yeah, good catch. So once you have Python installed, you can use pipe, right? This is installed automatically when you have Python. So it doesn't matter whether you use MacBook or Windows. Okay. Does this answer your question? Okay. Now, before installing the package, the OpenAI package, another very important thing: activating and deactivating your virtual environment. So if you notice, I don't know if you can you see on the back what's written here or not too much? Can you see? Yeah. Okay. So if you can see here, okay, we have in brackets V and V. This means that currently we're in our virtual environment. If I don't have V and V, this means that wherever we install or delete, it's not going to be from the virtual environment, but it's going to be from the global Python version that's in your computer. So when you install Python, here's what happens. Python gets installed in some global folder that is used by your whole computer, okay? And if you want to install or delete libraries, you can just go to a terminal and do pipe install. The name of the library is going to be installed globally. But if you want to install this library into the virtual environment, you need to be sure that you're inside your virtual environment. So what is the next question that comes here? How do we go into the virtual environment, right? So it's very simple. When you're in the PyCharm terminal, as you can see now automatically we're into our virtual environment. But if we're not, okay, you're just going to see this, right? You don't see V and V. Okay, so how to activate it? You can actually find that in this document that I showed you. It's different for Windows and for Mac. So if you're on MacBook, you just need to do source, okay, V and V, so the virtual environment, right? Bin, activate, and this will activate your virtual environment. So I will show you here in this folder. So we go to bin, activate, so we just access this file, and here I am in the virtual environment. If you want to go out of your virtual environment, you just do deactivate, okay, and you're out. If you're using Windows, it's going to be slightly different. For Windows, what you need to do is so you need to do V and V, okay, scripts, activate. Make sure that you have full stop before the environment, okay? And again, if you want to go out of your virtual environment, you again type deactivate and you will get out. So this is actually something, it doesn't look very important, but it actually is. And I can tell you that even at my job, most of the mistakes that happen when people cannot do something with Python, or something doesn't work, or they have issues, I would say 70% of the cases is because they don't know how to use their virtual environment, and they are thinking, okay, why my project is not working? I have everything set up, I have all the code. Yes, but if you're into a different virtual environment, or you're using different Python interpreter, then your project is not going to work. And this is very, very common. So it's a very good thing if you learn just this thing. It's going to help you a lot if you work with Python. All right. So now we're in the virtual environment here, okay. And the next thing that you want to do is to install the OpenAI library. Actually, those of you that are using Python, they probably have done that already, but this is important. So you can install a library by doing pipe install OpenAI, the name of the library. Okay, and this just installed to the library. As you can see, something here happens too. And now if I go to my virtual environment and go to libraries, you will see some folder here. If I go down, let's see where it is. Here it is. So now I have OpenAI in my virtual environment. And this is how now I can use all the capabilities of ChatGPT, Whisper, DALL-E, everything. I have it now installed. Now, how to use or how to do a very simple connection with ChatGPT from Python. So, firstly, you need to use your API key in the beginning of the code. Today we're doing in the less secure way, right? Just adding it in the same file. But normally you should remember, for future purposes, that no one should have access to your API key. For example, if you're a big company and obviously you're going to use a paid version of the ChatGPT API, and if somebody has your key, they can use it for their application and you're going to be charged, which is not great. So normally just keep it in a safe place. Now let's write here client OpenAI. Okay, and usually you can actually code this library by just typing OpenAI dot the name of the class here, or you can instead, which is actually preferable, you can just do yes.
How did you like increase the text bubble in PyCharm?
You want the text to be bigger, or
Yeah, like how do you make it bigger?
just with the mouse, yeah, with the touchpad, with the two fingers like this. See, it's not working. Oh, another way. Control. No. I think there were some options for zooming, but let me see.
Yes, there is a setting with like there is a checkbox in setting somewhere which you can open.
Where have that? I was thinking it's somewhere from view, or no? Appearance. Oh, appearance, and then you can do zoom ID here, I think. Yeah, and you can choose now the type of zoom.
I don't have that option. I don't have that option either. View, appearance.
Another way you can find options is if you do double shift, just 2 times. Okay, now do zoom, right or zoom. Try zooming here.
It's okay, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I will try to investigate and see how it works there. But maybe because you're using Windows and has slightly different options, I guess. But
I haven't updated PyCharm in like a year or two.
oh, so maybe they added some new options. Yeah, it's possible. All right. So as I was saying, guys, okay, pay attention here. So you can either do that, or you can do from OpenAI import the OpenAI class. Okay, so
you can remove this import, and then you don't need to do every time OpenAI dot something. Okay, so after that, let's add your API key. So if I do API underscore key equals, and here you can do in parentheses, you can add in parentheses your API key. Okay, I'm going to find mine. Here it is. So I just copy it and I paste it right here. Okay. Okay, so once you have that, let's create an input. And the idea is to have here in the terminal an input that is asking the user, let's say, give a question to ChatGPT, then you write the question yourself and you get a response. Okay, what we want to do, the goal here is to do that in Python as a starting point. Okay, so let's create a new variable called question. Okay, and then you can write input. Okay, and let's write here, what would you like to ask ChatGPT? Okay, so once you have that, you can do response equals, and then you can call the response. Okay, so the response is going to be equal to client dot chat dot completions dot create. Okay, and here you can pass now the parameters that we were talking about for the ChatGPT request. So those would be those type of arguments like model, messages, and so on. So let's do now model equals, and then you type your ChatGPT model. So how you can find the model so you don't need to remember them is if you use the documentation. So if you go to platform.openai.com docs overview, okay, you can go to models, and here you can see the different models. For example, if I click on 3.5, here you can see the different models. You can directly copy this and put in your code. So let's say I want to use the ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. I will just copy that, go here to model, and I will paste it. Okay. After you do that, let's write a comma here. So after you do that, let's do max tokens, and here we're going to write the number of tokens that we want that maximum are going to be used from our application. So let's do 250. Okay, and after that, let's say the temperature. Okay, let's say 0.7 for temperature, and then we can create our message variable. Okay, so you can write messages equals to, okay, And here we can create list of messages. So let's say we're gonna do row user here in parentheses. So we're passing the row and the content of the question in this dictionary here. So in Python, if you want to create a dictionary, you use those type of parentheses. Okay. After that, let's do comma content.
Sorry, I'm still not.
Okay. And then here, oh, by the way, here it's a typo, so you need to do just 250, not as a string. Okay. And here we can add the input that we just wrote, right? Right here. So what I can do is f question, and I'll do here parentheses. Okay, and pretty much this is how we're going to communicate with the ChatGPT. Now I'll go over some of the things that we did. So firstly here, what is that f? Does anyone know why we need to write f here? Yeah, correct. So in Python, if you want to create, so with parentheses, obviously you are surrounding a string variable, and if you want to have another variable, so questions, to be in the place of the string, you need to write f in front of the parentheses, and this is how questions will be recognized as this value here. If you don't put f in front, okay, you're just literally going to get what's written between the parentheses, okay? You're not going to get the actual variable. So pretty much what we did here is we said to the ChatGPT, okay, use this model with the maximum amount of tokens. I want an average temperature, I would say, okay? And I want to send a message, what would you like, to ask ChatGPT. And since this is an input, we'll have the chance to add something from us, to add some question, okay? And this is how I ask ChatGPT. And pretty much we're going to get the response from ChatGPT, the long JSON response that I just showed you on the slide. We're going to get that in the variable response. And our goal, yeah.
So what is max tokens?
Yeah, so when ChatGPT is giving you an answer of a question, let's say if you ask it, write me an essay about the Second World War, right? If you write 250 tokens, this means that in the response, so one token is about 4 characters, letters, okay? So this means in the response, you're going to get about 200 words response. So your essay will be 200 words. If here you write, let's say 10,000, your essay will be up to 10,000 words, okay? But if you write just 250, you make sure that no more than 250 words are generated from the ChatGPT.
Okay. So basically, ChatGPT is costing you for on the basis of tokens, how many tokens you're using.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you want to make sure that you keep this number comfortable for you, right? You don't want it to be too high or too low. Okay, so now once we have the response, actually let's run that now so you can see how the response looks like. So I will just run the main. Let's see what I did. Oh yeah, okay. So what we're going to do here is so I'm just going to put the API key above, and we're going to put the API key inside this function, OpenAI, right? Let's see if this is the right. Yeah, and then Oh yeah, we need. Okay, so just a correction here. Make sure that you add the API key inside the OpenAI function. Okay, so this is something that actually OpenAI created about 2 months ago. Before it was a little bit different, and you will see for the applications that we built, we're going to use the version 28 where you don't need to put the API key inside the OpenAI class. But this is what you need to do here with the latest version. Okay, so once we do that, you can run the code. Okay, and as you can see here, you can write your question to ChatGPT. Actually, I'm going to modify this a little bit, so I'll add a question mark here, and also in the end I'm just going to do print response. Okay, so let's see what we're going to get. Okay, what question do you want me to ask? Suggestions. Okay, I'll think it myself. Let's say
Temperature outside.
that's a tricky question. I'm not going to ask it because I don't think it will give us the best answer. But okay, you know what? Let's try that. What is the
Temperature of Pittsburgh.
actually, you know what? I'm going to ask. What is the climate in Fishburg? So it gives us just a general picture about the climate. Okay. All right. So we're done. Here it is. Now, what we've got here? Well, what we've got is pretty much the raw response of the ChatGPT. Okay, let me try to go closer so you can see. Now, obviously, you cannot use this raw information. Yep.
We can predict it, like we can see the response very easily. Predict it.
What?
Predict it.
Ah, you want to pretty print it. Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't work that great here, but it's fine. We can analyze it like this too. So let's just go parameter by parameter. Now you can obviously see that here we're getting the ID, we're getting the choices, and one of the choices, right? We have the message from the ChatGPT. So it says the climate in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, is humid continental climate, wherever it is, right? So this is the actual message that we need for our application. So we got the correct answer. Now, the goal here is to extract that from the response. Okay? So how do we do that? Now, you can simply write here response dot choices. So we're gonna get the first choice. Since we didn't specify the number of choices we want to add here, so get the first choice, and most of the time you will want to have only one choice, so you just get the first element in this list here. Okay, then we're gonna do dot message dot content. Okay, so let's try again. I will just copy that here. Okay, so let's see what is the climate in Fitchburg. Okay, and now here you have just the message that you need, right? You don't have the rest of the data. Now, obviously, you can use the rest of the data that comes as a response for other things in your application. For example, if you create application where you want to have in the admin panel of this application some track of the tokens and the cost, you can do that as well, right? You can just extract the number of tokens in the response and have that estimated in your application. So how is it going? Did somebody else manage to get the response? How about here? Were you able to get the response?
Not really. I'm having problems. Apparently my record isn't configured.
Okay. Did you install the libraries?
The OpenAI.
Yeah. So do here.
And virtual environment script to activate. Pip pipe install OpenAI. And it installed it. But it's not. It can't. It's not recognizing it.
Let's see what happens. If you do here. Can I have it for a second? Just to
Yeah, go ahead.
just see. I mean, it's also possible that this happens because you're using Python 3.9.
What version are we supposed to be on?
I'm just using the last one.
Last one.
I think it's like 3.11, so it's
Okay.
right, big gap.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would say maybe try to install Python.
3.11.
Yeah, if you have the last version, it's always.
Does everything look right? Did I type everything? Is there any syntax errors?
No, everything is good. Yeah,
That's good. Okay, thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Computer science.
All right. So this project I'm also providing this in Blackboard, so you can also review the exact code that we're writing today. Okay. And just try to run it yourself. Okay. Now, just want to share with you another tool that you can use from OpenAI if you just want to experiment with ChatGPT with things like temperature, the maximum tokens length. That's quite useful. So you don't need to always write a Python code to check those type of elements. So this is the playground. So you can go to platform.openai.com/playground, and there you can do, for example, a chat, right? And here you can control, for example, the temperature, the maximum tokens, and so on. For example, here, if I write okay. So let's say if I write, I start a fast food company, give me ideas for brand name, and I put the temperature to 0, right? And I submit that. Okay, let's say, give me 5 ideas. Okay. You see that every time when I submit this request, I'm going to get exactly the same names. Okay, see, I delete it, I do it again. So this is an example that if you do temperature of 0, the result is more deterministic, but it's exactly the same every time. While if I do the highest one, which is 2, you'll see that it gives us different responses, but sometimes if it's too high, for example 2, it would give you some completely garbage response. So let's see here, right? It gives some things that don't make any sense. So I would say if you want something that has more variability, you can use temperature of 1, for example. And in that way, the names are going to be slightly different. Okay. So I would say experiment in your own time also with the playground, because it's also a very useful tool. Okay, so that's gonna be everything for today. Okay, for the next week you don't have any assignments. Your first quiz, I'm going to release it next week, which is going to be on the things that we learned today and the things that we're going to learn next week. So the most important thing for the next week is for you to read the 2 references from Blackboard. One of them is more related with PyCharm, how to set virtual environment, how to install Python, and so on. And the other one is more related with the things we discussed, how to use ChatGPT. So how many of you are using your own computers for the class, and how many of you are using the ones in the lab? So just raise hand, the ones that are using their own computers. Okay. Alright, so most of your own. You're using the one here. Okay. No, it's okay, it's okay. I just want to see. Alright, so for those of you that are using their own laptops, please make sure that you have next time the latest version of Python installed, and also you have the PyCharm also installed in your laptops, okay, for the next class, so we're able to create the ChatGPT clone. Alright, and I think that's everything for today, guys. Do you have any questions, something that you want to ask for ChatGPT or Python or PyCharm? Yep.
Do we need to buy a subscription for ChatGPT?
Uh,
It's giving me a quota error.
Yes.
Is giving, let me see. No, so you don't need to buy a subscription for ChatGPT. Okay, I'll check that. I know that you're able to use a free version, so I'll give a message to everyone how you can do that. Okay.
Thank you.
But this means that your code to work if you just got this error. So that's fine. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Alright. Okay then, have a great evening. It was nice meeting you. And make sure you have PyCharm, Python installed for the next class. And I will see you next time, okay? Sure.
Just have that error. I think it's like I didn't like sell that latest version.
Let's see.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So yeah, this is other people also got it. I will investigate because it says that you exceed your current code, so the current amount of tokens that you can use, right?
Oh, I see.
And you didn't use any tokens. So I will check how you can avoid that. I think you should be able to.
Actually, I've used this project like for my last folks and like.
Oh,
maybe
that's nice.
Yeah.
I think even if I'm not able to find how you can use OpenAI for free, I will just give you my own tokens and you can all use them. So actually, you know what? Let's try with my token. But how can I send it to you? Do you have like airdrop?
Yeah, airdrop, I think.
Yeah, I can airdrop. Okay.
Yes.
So let me go to map. Let's just see that it works. Okay. So share airdrop. Is it your MacBook?
Yeah, January. Okay, I got you.
Okay, let's see now if you can use it. Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
So
thank
it's that. Yeah. Yeah, you can use this one like if you run other applications.
Okay,
So
thank
that's
you.
okay. Yeah, no problem at all.